Whoa, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back on this cold morning. First of all, massive thank you to everybody for the support. We are well on our way to our next goal, which is 2,500 subscribers. We've kind of left that 1,000 subscriber mark in the dust. It's just behind we now. If you are new to the channel or you're not subscribed, it would be a massive help if you could hit that subscribe button. So I've been thinking, I know, dangerous. 100,000 miles in this van, in any vehicle. Is it a lot? Is that classed as high mileage? Is that low mileage? That's what we're going to delve into in today's video. I think my hat blends in too much with that headlining, doesn't it? On the camera it seems to anyway. 100,000 miles. Hang on a second. 100,000 miles. According to Universe Today, it is 24,901 miles total around the world. So that means this van has travelled, to put it into perspective, round the world 4 times. That is absolutely crazy. When you think of it like that, this van has travelled round the world 4 times. It's literally drove round the world 4 times. And when you say it like that, that sounds like a hell of a lot of miles. That sounds like you shouldn't go anywhere near anything that has travelled round the world 4 times. Just don't even touch it. Don't even bother. This question that I'm asking, basically, I'm asking myself, I'm asking you guys, is 100,000 miles a lot? Is that classed as high mileage, or is that classed as low mileage? Because I guess it depends what year vehicle you're looking at and all sorts of stuff. But I'm just talking in general. If you were going to buy a second-hand vehicle and it was 100,000 miles, would that make you think twice about buying that vehicle? Would you think, ooh, it's done 100,000 miles, that's 4 times round the world, I know that now, maybe I shouldn't look at that vehicle, maybe I should look at something a bit lower, with a bit lower mileage? Or would you think 100,000 miles, that's done well, maybe that's a good vehicle, maybe it's being maintained well, maybe that's a good sign that it's done 100,000 miles. There's so many different factors to take into account, so many, and every situation is going to be different. Now in my case, if you've been following the channel for a little while now, you probably know that my van basically itself, there's no polite way of putting it, at 89,000 miles. Now I bought the van with around 85,000 mile on it, something like that. I'd literally hardly drove it, to be honest with you, and it was more than that. I drove less than a couple of thousand miles in it, and it blew up. Now, partially my fault because it had no service history, so I don't know what the history of the vehicle was. But when I bought it, 89,000 miles on a Transit, I thought, that's now that it's hardly even been running. I've seen vans with 200,000 on, 250,000 on, still going strong. So in my eyes, I was thinking, that's quite low mileage. Should be alright here. Wasn't to be, and I ended up putting basically brand new everything inside this van. I did go through all that in a previous video if you're new, so go and check that out about when we put the new engine in and things like that. So it had a new engine, new turbo, new intercooler, new clutch, flywheel, everything, pipes, the lot, the works, injectors, rear leaf spring, whole new front end pretty much underneath, brakes, pads, discs. It's had all the proper run-in services done now and all that sort of stuff, new diesel pump. Like literally the list, the receipts that I've got for this van are huge. You name it, it's on this van. So now, when you're looking at a 100,000 mile van now, it's brand new. It's bloody brand new mechanically. So in this case, in my case, 100,000 miles is out. It's nothing really, because the van's got a new engine in about 10,000 mile ago. So the van mechanically has only covered 10,000 miles. In my eyes, that's the way I look at it. Another thing though is like bodywork and stuff like that. If a vehicle's done more mileage, you're probably going to see more wear and tear on the bodywork, on the paint, maybe there's a bit of rust popping up here and there. especially if it's a Ford. You Ford owners know exactly what I mean. Just because it's being driven and used, basically, you're going to see that. It's seen the road more. It's seen maybe more harsh weather. Now I think, I'm having to think here now, right? This van has hit 100,000 mile. Me Transit Connect that I had last, which I paid 700 quid for, that had 160,000 mile on it. The car I had before that was a Ford Mondeo Gear X. That had 130 odd thousand mile on it. Car I had before that was a BMW 330i automatic estate, which was slammed. Well, I call it slammed, but apparently it wasn't slammed. It was about 5mm off the floor. Apparently that's not slammed. Apparently it's got to be 0.0001mm off the floor in order to be classed as slammed. What do I know? I didn't know about being cool, really. That had 160,000 mile on it, and that was a good car. I'm trying to think of cars I've had that have had lower mileage on. I had a BMW E90 330 diesel, weapon of a car. That had 150,000 on it or something. And the mileage has never really put me off. Because I want to know your guys' opinion on this as well. Because my opinion on it is that the mileage doesn't really matter. It's all about knowing the vehicle and the history and what's being done to it. Because there's different ways you can look at it. You can look at something with high mileage as maybe it's a bit risky. You know, it's getting old, stuff like that. But if you look into it and it's being done right and maintained right, then there's pros to that. Because if certain vehicles need like belts doing or pumps changing at like certain mileage, say like 100,000 or 70,000 or whatever, they could have already been done. So if that's being done, then that's something you're not going to have to worry about for a little while. Whereas if you get something that's on 50,000 mile, that's coming up. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand? That's like, you've got that to come. You're going to have to sort that out. So it can work both ways. Do you know what I mean? If you get a car that's been really, really well looked after, mileage in my eyes is irrelevant. If the body works good, if everything ticks all the boxes and you do your research on a vehicle, I don't think mileage is an issue at all. And what I always think about as well, something I always think about as well is, say if for instance, because I just go back to my van, because I'm a nerd and I think about vans and cars all the time. But see if I saw my van on eBay now, the way it is, new engine in, all that sort of stuff, and then I seen exactly the same van, but it had done 50,000 mile, or 40,000 mile, or 30,000 mile even, same age, would I buy the 40,000 mile one or whatever, the lower mileage one, or would I buy this van? The reason I'm talking about this is because I'm interested and I want to know what you guys think. Do you know what I mean? It's a good talking point, and I get into conversations like this all the time with fellow car and van lovers, enthusiasts, and me dad even, and we always talk about, you know, is that high mileage, like what's being done, blah blah blah, because sometimes you can get a really good price on something that's got higher mileage but it's been really looked after than if you went and bought something with lower mileage that's maybe been ragged about its whole life and not been serviced once. What are you guys thinking? Is 100,000 miles high mileage or low mileage to start with? Does mileage put you off at all when you're looking at vehicles? Would you rather go for something that's got low mileage than something over high mileage? Or does it completely depend on the price? I don't think there's any right or wrong answer, to be honest with you. I'm just interested to see what majority of people say when looking for vehicles, because I just find it interesting, do you know what I mean, whether mileage puts people off or not, even if it has been well maintained. I messed up as well, you know. I messed up because I was gonna try and get a video of me like mileage indicator thing at 100,000 miles, and that was the plan. I was like, oh, that'll be great for a video, you know, we'll get it exactly on 100,000 miles. Then what did I do? I went out and I didn't realise that I was like literally, I think I was like 30 miles away, and I literally went out, and by the time I got back it just ticked over, and I was like, oh no, I've missed it. I couldn't believe it. So for everyone that's like OCD and stuff, like I really am sorry that I couldn't get all them zeros. Like, this year I'm wanting to interact with you guys as much as possible as well. So whenever that means we get out of lockdown and we can do meets, and we can, you know, whenever I go somewhere, I'll let you guys know if there's any shows and stuff on. Also on Instagram, send us messages, comment, might even do some Instagram lives if anyone's up for doing something like that. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. So yeah, the link is in the description down below. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Put me hat back on because I'm blooming cold. I'm always cold, my honour. I'm always seeing that at the end of videos. But it's freezing, man, in the north. Freezing. Have I locked myself in my van here? Where's my keys? Surely not. No, we've got them. Right. Adios.